Hello again, everyone. Welcome to Washington Gun Law TV. I am Washington Gun Law President William Kirk. Thanks for joining us. Hey, this is going to be a video about Illinois, but there's a lesson to be learned for all of us in every corner of the country about the long-term effects of some of what seems to be innocuous legislation and how it can rear its ugly head later. As we know, the state of Illinois has been going through one hell of a battle over perhaps the most unconstitutional assault weapon ban passed anywhere in the United States, particularly because of the way they passed it. We were celebrating a bunch of newfound freedom with the statewide injunction for the last 5 days. Unfortunately, that came to a screeching halt late last night. But you see, not everybody got to enjoy that freedom. You see, because when we allow municipalities to write their own gun laws, we end up in the problem that we're going to introduce you to today. We're going to talk to a gun owner who's in a municipality that has its own assault weapon ban, and with all these injunctions and all of these lawsuits, none of it affects him whatsoever, and he is this close to losing everything. So today, let's spend a few minutes and talk about what it's like to still live behind Illinois' Iron Curtain. Okay, so we're talking about the Illinois assault weapon ban again today, and we had 5 glorious days of freedom. Got to do this video right here, talk to the folks at GAT Guns out in East Dundee, Illinois, about the freedom that they had for about 5 days until a United States Court of Appeals judge decided to put a screeching halt to that. But today, what I'm going to do is I'm going to introduce you to the owner of another gun store who had quite the different experience. In fact, we're going to meet Robert Bevis. Now, that last name may sound a little familiar. You may know that name from the case of Bevis versus City of Naperville. Rob owns the company Law, Weapons, and Supply, a company that's been around for many, many, many years, a very reputable FFL in the city of Naperville, Illinois. Now, the city of Naperville passed its own assault weapon ban way back in August of 22, see, because they know a lot better. And the lesson I want you all to take from this is anytime your state's talking about doing away with state preemption, so you're going to have this hodgepodge of gun laws all around your state, no uniformity in your gun laws, you can end up in the exact same position that Rob is in. So what I want to do is I want you to understand the plights of what Rob and everyone at Law, Weapons, and Supply is going through, and we are going to ask if you guys can help him out. So without any further ado, let's talk to Rob real quick. Hey, listen, a real pleasure to have Robert Bevis of Law, Weapons, and Supply in Naperville, Illinois, join us. Robert, thank you very much for joining us here on Washington Gun Law. Why don't you tell my viewers a little bit about Law, Weapons, and Supply?
Thanks, Bill, for having me. Well, Law Weapons is a gun shop, a manufacturer and importer located in Naperville, Illinois. We've been in Naperville since, I believe, 2012. And originally we were invited here by the mayor, the then mayor, George Pradle, to come into the city. And we've been flourishing ever since until January or until August last year.
Now, for those, some of my viewers out there have been geeking out on the channel. They may have heard your name before. It might have been from a lawsuit called Bevis versus City of Naperville. You are the named plaintiff in that suit, correct?
That is correct.
Okay. Now, we've been following from afar here in Washington State the trials and tribulations of everything that's been going on in Illinois, and it is a gut-wrenching story. Earlier this week, we heard of an injunction, a statewide injunction, and we actually were able to interview some folks out in East Dundee over at GAT Guns, and they were enjoying this amazing sense of freedom, and also they were flourishing financially from that. Yes. However, this is why I have you on the channel here, and this is what I want my viewers to understand. Robert Bevis at Law, Weapons, and Supply, you did not enjoy that sense of freedom. Is that right?
That is correct.
Okay, now here's what I want. Let's take our viewers back and let's talk about what the problem is. The problem stems from the fact that you've decided many, many, many years ago to do business in the city of Naperville, right?
That is correct. Yes, we did.
All right.
That was 2020.
What's the problem here? Because the city of Naperville, and approximately how big is the city of Naperville?
City has about 170,000 people in it, and it's pretty well established.
Okay.
Levels.
All right. And the good folks who run the city of Naperville obviously know much more about how everyone in Illinois should be living their lives. And so they decided back in August of last year that they needed to enact their own municipal assault weapon ban. Is that right?
That is correct. Yes, they enacted an ordinance against what they call assault weapons.
Assault weapons. Okay, now for my viewers, how
Yes.
can a city in Illinois on its own, sua sponte, pass more restrictive gun legislation than anything that existed anywhere else in the state at that time?
I don't believe it's legal that they did so. I believe that they're violating the constitutional rights, their Second Amendment rights, and they try to carve out this thing called we're only banning the commercial sale of firearms to try to circumvent the Second Amendment.
Okay, and this is what I want my viewers to pay attention to here, okay? Because we see this all the time from folks on the gun grabbing left, which is, oh, we're not banning the possession. We're not banning possession. We're just banning the commercial sale. And they make it seem like it's so innocuous. But what you're going to learn as we go through Robert's story here is that, oh, no, this can have a devastating impact.
Absolutely.
So the city of Naperville enacts its own municipal assault weapon ban back in August, but they tell you, hey, don't worry, it's not going into effect until January 1st of 2023, giving you theoretically time to prepare. But what does Law, Weapons, and Supply experience almost the second that the city of Naperville signs that legislation?
So immediately we start receiving phone calls from customers, right? Saying, hey, what's going on? We try to explain it to them. And, it gets misconstrued in the social media and over the news. And people believe that Naperville was going to put us out of business, which it has almost.
I mean, they're trying. They're trying like hell, right?
You're absolutely right. They are bullying us. But people even though we were able to sell everything for the next few months, people started going away. We'd get text messages and emails and on Google and Yelp and things like that saying, hey, Naperville's putting Law Weapons out of business. And someone would reply and say, hey, it's a great gun shop. I'm sorry they're going to go. I've got to go find somewhere else to go. And so the customers started declining. Revenue tanked. We literally had, a tenth of our business within a month and a half was coming in the store. 1/10. We went down.
And this is 4 months prior to the ban going into effect, which means you're getting choked out financially way earlier than you had even anticipated, right?
Right. Even though we're sending out email blasts and explaining that, hey, come buy whatever you want. We're giving specials. We're trying to do anything to save it, hoping that we're going to be able to turn this over or get it stayed in court because we filed a court case immediately. Okay. And but that did not happen. We have gone down tremendously, and we're in a bad position.
All right. So obviously, all hell breaks loose. Now, at this point, without getting too personal, approximately how much revenue has Law, Weapons, and Supply lost?
I would estimate over $500,000.
Ooh. How many employees have you had to let go in this period of time?
7.
7 employees you've had to let go already?
Yes, sir.
How many of those?
We now have 6 employees, including the 4 of us as our family, and 2 other employees that work here.
So some of these employees probably were with you for a long time. I know in your industry, when you get good employees, they have a tendency to stick around and stay there for a long time. They probably were a lot like family to you.
They really are. And we're doing our best to pay them. A lot of the employees said, hey, we're going to work 1 day for free a week, just to help Law Weapons. One of the employees we just lost, Jim, had been with us since 2011. And unfortunately, it's just we couldn't afford the hours to pay him, and we had to keep cutting things back, trying to make the bills. I've had to take loans and boost, run my credit cards up to $100,000 to pay bills just to keep them, to try to keep it open.
So while the city of Naperville has injected all their misery on your company starting in August, the rest of the folks in Illinois don't get that injected upon them until right after the first of the year with all the shenanigans that went on with House Bill 5471, the insurance legislation, which suddenly turned into an assault weapon ban, which suddenly ended up on Governor Pritzker's desk all in about 72 hours, right?
Yeah, that's correct. It's about 3 days from finish to end.
Okay. And of course, at that point, Robert Bevis is saying, "Hey, welcome to my world," right?
Right. Well, yes, I guess I was. I'm, hoping that everybody's now going to get together and we're actually going to fight this instead of me alone.
Okay, and so this is what I want the viewers to understand is right after the city of Naperville does this, you file suit against them. Okay, and so that's the case that is Bevis versus city of Naperville, and immediately it starts ricocheting up the courts. It goes, and there's arguments about injunctions and no injunctions and all that. Was that law, the city of Naperville's assault weapon ban, ever enjoined by any court as you proceeded on up?
No. What happened was we had at one point we had an agreed stay on it, stay of enforcement that happened sometime, I believe, in December, just before it was about to go into effect. There was this agreed stay, and at that point, I've already lost most of the customers.
Right. At that point, you're basically on life support already, right?
Correct. That is right. Then kicks in the Illinois state ban, and that right after that, I'd say within a few weeks, there was a ruling from Judge Kendall denying the injunction pending appeal. I mean, pending the hearing and the preliminary injunction. She denied both. So we immediately appealed it.
So you never, as it relates to the city of Naperville's assault weapon ban, no judge has ever enforced an injunction against that law.
No, they have not.
You've been stuck under the city of Naperville's law this whole time.
That is correct.
Okay. Now, and I want my viewers to understand that Robert reached out to us right after we did this video right here, which is about our friends up at Gat Guns and some of the freedom that they were enjoying in Illinois at that time. We now know that has since been shut down.
Sure. Yep.
But Robert, you didn't enjoy 1 second of freedom during this injunction. I want you to explain to the viewers why that injunction had no impact, no effect on law, weapons, and supply in Naperville, Illinois.
Well, certainly the injunction applied towards the state of Illinois and J.B. Pritzker and the Attorney General and the state police, but did not carve out Naperville. Naperville's ordinance superseded it. The worst part, Bill, is that all the citizens in Illinois hear of this. The ban is now no longer in effect. They come rushing to our door, over 100 on Friday, say, "We're ready to pick up guns.
I'm ready to get my guns." Yeah,
law weapons can't do it. What do you mean? So all those people go, "We don't know what's going on," and they just go down the street to another gun shop.
And some of them then also go out on social media, not completely understanding the backstory here, and they're like, "Oh, law, weapon, and supplies, those guys, blah blah blah. I don't know what's wrong, right?" And now the rumors start spreading, and it's based upon misinformation or misunderstanding. Agreed?
That's exactly correct. So they're attacking us. They think it's my fault. They think I don't want to sell guns or don't want to get them guns.
Because as a private business owner, you don't want to make money, right?
Right. That's basically what they think. It's amazing.
Okay.
And this is just because of misinformation given by Naperville and by the media, and it's caused harm that I don't know that I can ever recover from this. I really don't.
I don't know either. But here's the other thing I want the viewers to understand is, we know that this state law is ricocheting around on its own separate track through the court system. And then obviously you have your own litigation going on against the city of Naperville. But in a hypothetical, and as a lawyer, I get to create hypotheticals all the time. This is the hypothetical. Some court at some point strikes down Illinois' assault weapon ban. Okay, that is struck down.
That's correct.
Theoretically, unless the city of Naperville's assault weapon ban is struck down as well, Robert Bevis and everybody at Law, Weapons, and Supply is still stuck behind the Illinois Iron Curtain. Is that a fair assessment?
That is exactly correct.
Okay. And so, see, what I want my viewers to understand is two things here, okay? Because you see these talking points all the time from the gun-grabbing left. The first is, we're just going to ban the commercial sales. Not a big deal. Not a big deal until you understand the trickle-down effect here, okay? And that's one of the things that Rob's been able to explain to us. The other thing is this talk about how, local municipalities, local governments, they know what's best on how to protect their communities. And we start creating these hodgepodge of gun laws, this tapestry of gun laws all around an individual state. And even when we start striking down certain laws, people like Rob end up caught up in some other municipalities' web that they've weaved here. And I think you and I talked, Rob, a little bit about how you really, when you first got into this, you were kind of naive and you figured, oh, once they understand what they're actually doing, they'll stop this, because they probably don't realize that they're trying to put me out of business. Tell my viewers about that a little.
Yeah, basically, I when I saw the draft ordinance and I looked at it, I said, it's supposed to stop crime and all this. And I said, well, you know what? I'm going to go in there to the city meeting, which I've never been to one before. I said, I'm going to go in there. I'm going to explain the facts. They're going to see it and say, Rob, you're absolutely right. It's no way. And then I said,
thanks for enlightening us, Rob.
Right.
Appreciate it.
That's what I really believed. And then I look at myself and I say, law weapons has stopped well over 100 gun sales from people that shouldn't get them. Sure. We've had 4 or 5 people arrested that were, with ankle bracelets and things. We have, I donate to the police departments. I'm a law enforcement firearms instructor.
Right. There's a reason you still have your FFL, and that's because you comply with the law.
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly. And we're the first line of defense. But
right.
People don't see that, and then I was like, how do they not understand? And because I know they realize it isn't going to do anything, but then I start to understand political theater.
Uh-huh.
And
then when you realize oh my God, actually they do want to put me out of business. Exactly. That's exactly what they're trying to do here, right? That there really is a nefarious intent to all of this.
Yes. And I thought, and I told them, I said, call their local police department, ask them, call the FBI. I'll give them all the phone numbers to call, ATF, ICE, FBI, hey, anybody, and ask them if Law Weapons is a stand-up company or not. Have we ever had an issue? Do we have any of our guns ever been used in a crime? Nothing. They just ignored it. And it just blew me away, Bill. I couldn't understand it.
Yeah, it's sad. Listen, couple last things here. First of all, we know that you as a company, you individually have absolutely hemorrhaged money over this thing. We also know that the fight is a long way from over, which means there is a lot more hemorrhaging left. You have lost employees. This has just been devastating. Have you set up any type of crowdfunding or anything else that we can tell the viewers about, so that the good folks out here who are geeking out with us here on Washington Gun Law can help out Rob and everyone else over there at Law Weapons and Supply? So do you have any information we can share with the viewers?
Yes, I do. So we set up a Give Send Go account. It's givesendgo.com/law weapons, or you just go to lawweapons.org and it pops up as a pop-up on our website. And, we'd be grateful for any help at all that's possible from anybody, and whatever you can afford, we could sure use, because this has been a long going battle, and we're getting to the end. Yeah. Where we really need the support of the Second Amendment community and the fine folks out there to help us.
And this is what I want my viewers to understand is that, if not for people like Rob, they win this war. And let me explain why. Okay, they passed this ordinance. The ordinance is designed to choke him out of business. And it's very effective. He's going broke. What a lot of people would have done is they would have packed up, they would have hightailed it out of Naperville, they would have tried to start all over again, but not Rob. Instead, Rob doubles down. He says, oh, no, you're not going to do this to me. And he files suit against them. That's a huge investment, people, and it's a speculative thing. You can put a lot of money into these things, and sometimes you come away with nothing to show for it. So not only did the city of Naperville pick the fight with the wrong guy, but Rob is willing to take the fight back to the city of Naperville and ultimately on behalf of all of our Second Amendment rights. So I do want all of you to think long and hard about showing a little bit of love for the good folks at Law Weapons and Supply there in Naperville. Rob, tell us one more time about where the store is, your hours of operation, and how people can still come on in, get treated really, really nice, and get taken care of there.
Yeah, so we're located at 1539 North Aurora Road. That's in the city of Naperville. Our website is lawweapons.org, and we're open. We're only closed on on Wednesday and Sundays. is our only 2 days closed. We weren't closed Sundays, but we had to shift a little bit, and we're open from 10 to 7 every day. So, we welcome everybody to come in if they just want to have a conversation and talk about it, or buy some of the items that we are allowed to sell. Either way, we want to educate people. And want to say one more thing, Bill, is that, Naperville did this ordinance. There was about 30 other municipalities that wanted to follow suit, and they were waiting to see what happened when Naperville did it as like the tip of the spear. Right. So that was the reason we knew we had to fight them right from the beginning to prevent these other municipalities from doing this. And it's had a great effect. That's a reason that we immediately stayed here and kept fighting, and I'm continuing to fight. And by the way, if you can put this message out to Naperville, I have always been willing to negotiate this and to figure it out and let them reverse their ordinance and apologize and do a few other things, and we can settle this. Naperville doesn't have to carry the water. The state has its own issue. Right. Release me. Stop bullying my family, or if not, tell me why you're doing it. It's duplicative, and doesn't need to be done.
Well, listen, Rob, make me a promise, and that is when we finally are victorious on this, and I know that we're going to lose a few battles along the way, but I do believe that we're going to win the war. Promise me that we'll be able to hook back up on the channel and celebrate together.
You got it, Bill. Absolutely. You're welcome to call me anytime, and it's a pleasure to be on your channel.
Well, and listen, it's a pleasure to meet you, and thank you for everything you're doing to be the tip of the spear to help protect the rights of the lawful and responsible gun owners nationwide. We need more people like you. So thank you for everything that you do.
Thank you for your help as well. You have a great day, and look forward to seeing you again soon.
Thanks. Stay safe. Yep. Okay, I want to thank Rob once again for having the courage to come on and talk about this. This is obviously not a lot of fun to talk about. 2 lessons to take away from this. Okay, number 1, we're just going to ban the commercial sale of it. It's nothing more than that. It's pretty innocuous. You can see how that legislation can be used to run people out of business. And I will remind everyone, the minute you run the FFLs out of business, doesn't matter if you want to exercise your Second Amendment rights, you have nobody to help you with that. The second thing I want you to understand is that when you don't have state preemption, when you allow a hodgepodge, a tapestry of gun laws to exist throughout your state, this is the exact same thing that can happen in your state as well. And with all the gamesmanship, with all the nefarious and sinister gamesmanship that goes on with the gun grabbing left, these municipalities will use this type of legislation to drive people like Rob and other lawful and responsible FFLs out of business. It is for this reason that we need people like Rob Bevis with Law, Weapons, and Supply to be the tip of the spear in cases such as Bevis versus the City of Naperville. Listen, if you want to help out Rob, if you want to help out the folks at Law, Weapons, and Supply, we have put links down below for their Give, Send, Go account. We ask all of you to really think long and hard and show them a little bit of love. They have expended so many of their resources fighting for all of our otherwise inalienable rights. Listen, you may have more questions about this or anything else related to what's left of those Second Amendment rights. If you do, you should know how to contact Washington Gun Law by now, but if you don't, that's okay. That information is right down there in the description box. In the meantime, I do want all of you to remember that part of being a lawful and responsible gun owner, like we talk about all the time here, is to know what the law is in every situation, how it applies to you in any instance that you may find yourself. Until next time, thanks for watching, and stay safe.